I want to make a quick video on what first releases are, early releases, first day of issue, and I do not have a PCGS first strike, but I also want to go over that as well. What it is and what it is not. First, let's focus on NGC. They use the terms on labels, early releases and first releases. And if you as a retail buyer wanted to get that on a label, it's a $15 surcharge. But pretty much 99% of the labels that have this early release, first release, they're coming from dealers who are getting bulk discounts when they submit these coins. And basically to get early release or first release, these are two interchangeable designations. And they basically identify coins received within the first 30 days of their official release. That's exactly what they're saying. Next, we have the NGC first day of issue that can appear on a slab's label. First day of issue, coins must be purchased within 1 day of the first day that a mint makes a new coin issue available for sale and must be received by NGC or an NGC approved depository within 1 week of the release date. And then finally, we have on the PCGS side, we have the first strike designation. And as it says here, this one is used to identify coins that are graded and certified within 30 days of their official release by the mint. This one does have an additional nuance, and it says here, it's often associated with coins that are struck from fresh dies, potentially resulting in sharper details and a stronger strike. Then on the same Google search, under the first strike discussion, and this is important because this is what I want to touch upon. This is when I want to focus in on what it is not. Here it says the U.S. Mint states that the first coin sold may not be the first coin struck and that dies are changed periodically throughout the minting process. If you're a novice collector, this is something very important you should be cognizant of that more seasoned collectors know very well. This coin here, for example, whether it had that early releases designation there or not, at the end of the day, and the data supports this, if you go on eBay and you turn on that sold filter to look at fully transacted comped sales with a large enough sample size, a coin with enough sales, you'll notice that whether that early releases is there or not, the price is not going to be different. So just be careful out there when you're buying a coin. Don't let anyone tell you, that early release is there, you should be paying more for that. Also, as a novice, what's very true is if you go on the big dealer websites like an AppMex, for example, a Modern Coin Mart, a Pinehurst or whatnot, they will in fact charge you more for an early release designation or a first release designation or a first strike designation on a coin. They will in fact charge you more, and that primarily stems because they're getting charged a little more on grading side. That grading aspect does cost more. And as I just mentioned, because when you go to sell it, you're not going to get more for it. It's really not worth it as a retail buyer for you to ever submit a coin and get that designation. It's $15 on the NGC side for a retail buyer. What I will promote, and I think is very cool, is this the Angel of Independence Mexican label. This used to be $5 upcharge, and now it's up to $8. But I think that really makes a difference on the coin. And I have seen coins actually do sell for more when they do have this label on there. So I think that's a wise investment. If you're a novice collector, what I would tell you is to keep an eye out. Be wary of any resellers. What they like to do is they have these contrived stories, and they like to, it's along the lines of, it's first releases. This was some of the very first few coins minted at the mint. That's simply not true. That's not stated anywhere. Do you know the astronomical cost of establishing such a provenance at the mint side to actually have and number down every coin in order, and then, have an AppMex rep or an NGC rep sitting at the front counter, hey, can we have the first day's coins? The cost that we be astronomical, and to pass it down to buyers are simply not willing to pay for that. It would be too expensive. It doesn't make sense. So if you hear such a story, steer clear. I'll talk about another example of these contrived stories coming out of some enterprising resellers. AppMex, for example, puts together a couple of coin sets. This here is a 2024 Mexican 5-coin proof set. This is essentially all the sizes from 1 ounce down. It includes 1 ounce, half ounce, quarter ounce, 1/10 ounce, and 1/20 ounce. And they come with certificates of authenticity. The reseller's story will be, this certificate of authenticity has the number 1. It was the very first coins minted, coming out, getting pressed and getting minted. Again, simply not true. Bullion Cat, my friend Felix, he made a great point. Out there are these 5-coin sets. There's also a magnificent 7-coin set. And in that one's these 5 coins, but they also have the 2-ouncer and the 5-ouncer. So both of them, there does exist a certificate of authenticity of number 1 for the 5-coin set and the 7-coin set. So if that story, let's assume we were to go with that story and they're telling the truth, it's then mathematically impossible. How can both sets then have a 1-ouncer that's the first one ever minted on the 5-coin set and the 7-coin set? So that contrived story simply does not make sense. So again, just to summarize, if you're buying these designations straight from big dealers on their websites or whatnot, first releases, early releases, or first strike, they are going to charge you a little more. You will see a difference if it has that designation and if it doesn't. But at the end of the day, the sample size is enormous where I've seen it. Folks go to sell these, and sometimes there's this anticipation that they're going to get a little more. When it comes to the seasoned collectors who are looking to add things to their collection, they don't care. The comp prices out there, there's no difference if it has the designation or not. I will say, I've heard the stories, and I believe it's because the buyer's simply falling for that story of a coin provenance that, the certificate of authenticity says number 1. It must be worth more. I'll pay for it. But it shouldn't be sold under the guise that was the first minted coin. There's no proof out there to indicate as such. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon.